Okay, here's the video I promised when I started my channel. I know I technically didn't hit the like goal of 50, but f it, we ball. But before I get into it, make sure you guys like and subscribe for more MHA content and theories like this. As I said, I plan to do some other animes, but right now I'm just focusing on MHA because that's what I love the most. But if you guys have been coming back to my content every week, make sure you subscribe. Anyway, let's get into it. So, we know that AFO is really obsessed with One for All, right? And the general consensus for why that was because it was the only power that could rival his own. Objection! Well, that's not true, or at least not 100% true, because until All Might basically beat the forehead off of him, he basically wiped the floor with almost every single user of One for All, with what it seems like little to no pushback, honestly. And let's just say what little we have seen of the fights between AFO and all the other users, he basically has him by the neck, and let's not lie, some of them look a little too into it, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, AFO seems to be in a mostly dominant position with like little to no injuries, while a lot of these guys are really heavily beaten up, making it seem as if the fight was pretty much one-sided. But you gotta remember, at this point, he doesn't have his regeneration quirk, so he just gave them straight hands. And man took like little to no damage in the process, so yeah. And let's not forget, in the first fight that we get to see in the anime at least, we see that he has several strength augmentation quirks that can put his strength almost near to the level that All Might is. And in the manga we actually get to see quirks that he had in the past. One of them is shooting fucking lasers. And we gotta remember that none of these users would have been nearly as strong as All Might because he's the one that cultivated that quirk for like 40 years that made it that powerful. So the whole notion that it's the only power that could rival his kinda doesn't make sense when you think about it. Especially when you hear how AFO refers to all the previous users, he kinda sees them more as ants and pests, not necessarily threats, so I don't see it as a power that he's afraid of, or necessarily a power he even needs. Because with Shigaraki's current body, without quirks, is almost comparable to All Might, according to statements made by various characters. So when you actually add on top of that those augmentations that we mentioned before, he should be way more powerful than All Might's power could ever be. So if he doesn't need the quirk, and he also doesn't see it as a threat, the most logical step for this man that makes a million plans would just be to kill the user, which he's had several opportunities for.
Why you boring me? I'm right.
But that being said, time and time again, he's actively trying to take the quirk. Which I guess that you could just chalk it up to he just likes shiny new quirks, or that it could potentially make him even stronger than how strong he is now. But regardless, it's his active priority to take One for All and not kill the user. And, I mean, even when we look at Shigaraki, the whole purpose for him creating him was just to steal the quirk. And also to be the ultimate life form, yada yada, blah blah blah, you know, this, that, and the third. But I have to ask you, why go through all these lengths just to steal this quirk? And it's for one simple reason. AFO loves his brother. Which I know, it's not the most creative reason, but I've already got you hooked, so sit your ass right there. No, where are you going? Sit your ass right there. Now I know what you're thinking. When it comes to Yuichi and AFO, it seems as if that Yuichi has nothing but hatred for his brother. He seems to only dislike him, and his sole purpose is for stopping him. But when it comes to AFO, it seems like he loves him. Which I know is crazy, because like, how did this twisted up ballsack love anything? Now, originally I had recorded this before this reveal was made known, but now that it's made known, I'm going to add it to the video. When it comes to the moment where we see the second user be killed by AFO, or at least presumably killed, we see that AFO is actually crying in this moment. Now, the second user, whose name is Kudo, or at least I believe that's how you pronounce it, he says that AFO actually killed his brother in this moment. Now, I'm not exactly certain about that. I believe either the second user could have potentially killed him, which caused for the wordplay when he says you're the one that killed him, or potentially AFO killed him in a fit of rage because he gave him no other choice but to kill his brother. But either way, this display of emotion is very unique for AFO because all the times we've seen him in the manga, he's either maniacally laughing or, I think that's just it, he just maniacally laughs, or he's really angry. That's about it. Even in a chapter where All Might is basically beating his ass in the preschool, he's basically just laughing the entire time and he seems like he's having fun, even though he's about to die in moment. So something really traumatic must have happened to cause such a big reaction from him. And to also lend more credence to my theory that it's because of his love for his brother, whenever he runs into any user of One for All, he's constantly referring to the quirk as little brother. He never actually refers to the user by their name, or at least not directly to the name when he's talking about the quirk. And even in the Paranormal Liberation War, he directly calls Deku little brother, which even leaves Shigaraki confused in this moment. It's very apparent he sees the quirk itself as Yuichi, he doesn't just see it as One for All. So even later in that same arc, when we go to the Vestige world, we see that he is actually aware that Yuichi lives within the quirk. But it doesn't seem like he was aware of this immediately, because if you remember correctly, I do think he said he actively did try to kill the first users, and I believe it wasn't until the 5th or 6th user that he actively tried stealing the quirk, and that's when he realized it was safeguarded. But at that moment he mentioned that he was having dreams from previous quirk users, so then he realized that the quirk user actually lives within the quirk. So if the user lives within the quirk, that means his brother must still live within that same quirk that is being passed down from user to user. So then his priority shifted to taking the quirk and then potentially killing the user afterwards. Because I believe All For One's dream is actually not to rule the world alone, but he wants to rule the world with his brother by his side. Whether it be a consolation prize to prove that, hey bro, I actually could do it, or because of the love for him that he's had, which I believe it's the love that he has for him. Because the reason why he even has that quirk in the first place is because he wanted him to have a power that he could use to protect himself. And to furthermore show how much he loves his brother, when picking his next vessel, he actually picked someone that looks almost exactly like Yuichi. Like if you line up a picture of Shigaraki next to Yuichi, they share a striking resemblance. I mean, minus the whole like weird eye thing that Shigaraki has going on, but you know what I mean. Even when it comes to the name Shigaraki, that's actually a name that All For One gave him, and it's actually his family's last name. Not to say the resemblance is the only reason why he picked Shigaraki, but I definitely think that was a contributing factor. Because we did see that he potentially wanted to steal Overhaul, which I made a video about that right here. But functionally it's the same power, and I would actually say Overhaul might potentially be a stronger power. So why pick Shigaraki? And I think that resemblance was a big factor as to why he picked him. Or it could just potentially be the hatred, but I do think that resemblance plays a big factor. Because I think at the end of the day, he would like to be as close to his brother as possible. Which is why he wants to steal the quirk, because I believe in the end of the day he wants to rule the world with his brother by his side, whether his brother is a willing participant or not. But I think this is pretty true, because in the grand scheme of things, I don't think any user was truly a threat to AFO when it came to battling him. I honestly don't even think All Might was that big of a threat, because when we see his actual plan, All Might defeating him was always part of his plan. And he did have to recalculate some things, but he actually had Shigaraki picked out well before his fight against All Might, so he was always planning to jump bodies into Shigaraki even before All Might beat him. And he's very much aware that killing the current user of One For All would effectively be killing his brother, which is why he mostly kills the users who passed it on already. Because as I've stated before, killing the user of One For All would be equally as beneficial as taking the quirk. Because we saw with Star and Stripe, he was not super upset that he didn't manage to get her quirk, even though it would have made his plan significantly easier. He was just glad to get that piece off the chessboard. So there you have it. This end goal is just brotherly domination. And again, I don't think it's that creative of a theory, and I almost think I'm about 90% right. With the latest chapter that came out, which again had me rewrite this whole damn thing, I believe that this is even more proven with the way he's reacting to Kudo and what they say between each other. But anyway, that's all I got for today. Again, thank you guys for showing love on some of my videos. My last Endeavor video, as I said before, you guys showed a lot of love. And as I said, I'm going to try to keep making these theory videos. If I'm correct, this should be coming out on Wednesday, but I had to re-edit some things last minute, so you might see it on Thursday, who knows. But whenever you guys are seeing this, I hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys come through for the next one. As I said before in my last chapter 406 review, if you guys have any theories or anything like that, let me know in the comments below. As I said, I have plenty of them I'm cooking up. I have like a whole spreadsheet, but I'd love to hear what other people have to say, and I love to hear other theories that other people have. So let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you guys will stick around this far, and if you watch my other videos, make sure to subscribe, man. I'm really trying to get as many subscribers as possible. And so far, a lot of people have been showing me some love and been subscribing. But that's all I got for now. You stay safe, my ninjas. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.